One was a sea monster that sailors swore was real. Scientists called it a delusion. The other was a golden city that Homer made up. At least, that's what historians said for 3,000 years. They called them fiction. And then the evidence showed up. History has a habit of dismissing what it can't explain. Stories passed down for generations, labelled myths, legends, fairy tales. Things that only existed in the imagination. But what happens when the imagination turns out to be right? What happens when the thing everyone said was impossible turns out to be sitting right there in the dirt, waiting to be found? Today, we're going through the legends that the world called fiction until science proved them fact. And the first one, it was swimming in the ocean this entire time. For hundreds of years, sailors came back from the deep ocean with the same story. A creature so massive it could drag an entire ship beneath the waves. Tentacles the size of ship masts, eyes the size of dinner plates. They called it the Kraken. And for hundreds of years, scientists said the same thing. Sailors exaggerate. The deep ocean plays tricks on the mind. There's no such creature. It's a myth. It's fiction. It doesn't exist. Except it did. In 1857, parts of a massive unknown creature washed ashore. Then in 2004, Japanese scientists captured the first images of a live giant squid in its natural habitat, 900 meters below the surface. It was real. It had been real the entire time. The sailors weren't lying. The scientists just hadn't gone deep enough to see it. The giant squid grows up to 13 meters long. Its eyes are the largest in the animal kingdom, 27 centimeters across. It hunts in the pitch black of the deep ocean, exactly where the sailors said it lived. The Kraken wasn't a myth. It was a giant squid, and it was waiting in the dark for 300 years, while the world called it fiction. So if a creature from the deep turned out to be real, what about a city from the stories? In the 8th century BC, a poet named Homer wrote about a legendary war.
And thus the great war raged before the walls of Troy, where heroes clashed in fury and the gods themselves took sides.
A conflict so devastating, it shaped the entire ancient world. The city at the center of it all? Troy. For thousands of years, scholars said Troy was fiction, a poet's invention, a story, not a place. There was no Troy. There was no war. It was just a good tale. In 1870, a businessman named Heinrich Schliemann didn't believe them. He took Homer's Iliad, the so-called fiction, and he used it like a map. He went to a hill in modern-day Turkey called Hisarlik, and he started digging. What he found buried under that hill changed history forever. Multiple layers of an ancient city built on top of each other over thousands of years. One of those layers, Troy 7, showed clear evidence of destruction by war, fire, arrowheads. Destruction that matched the timeline of Homer's story almost exactly. Troy was real. The war was real. The city that the world's smartest historians called a myth for 3,000 years was sitting under a hill in Turkey, exactly where the fiction said it would be. Homer didn't invent Troy. He remembered it. We're about to get to what might be the most shocking one yet. But if you're finding this as fascinating as I am, hit subscribe. Now here's where it gets really interesting. For centuries, the ancient Greeks wrote about a tribe of fierce female warriors, the Amazons. They rode horses. They fought with bows and arrows. They lived without men. And for centuries, historians said the same thing they always say. It's a myth. It's a story made up to make Greek heroes look impressive. Women warriors? A fantasy. In the 1990s, archaeologists started excavating burial mounds on the steppes of Russia and Kazakhstan, the exact region the Greeks described. What they found were skeletons buried with weapons, iron swords, arrowheads. And here's the part nobody expected. When they analysed the DNA, many of those warrior skeletons were female, women, buried as warriors, with battle injuries on their bones. In 2017, a study published in the American Journal of Archaeology confirmed it. Up to 37% of Scythian warrior burials were female. The Greeks didn't invent the Amazons. They encountered them. The female warriors of the steppes were real, and they were exactly what the myth described. 3 legends. 3 times the experts said fiction. 3 times the evidence said otherwise. A monster in the deep. A city buried under a hill. A tribe of female warriors riding across the ancient world. All real, all proven, all dismissed for centuries. History doesn't always get it right the first time. Sometimes, the fiction gets closer to the truth than the history books ever did. If this blew your mind, you're not alone. Drop a comment. Next time, we're tackling something even crazier. The myths that history books got wrong in the other direction. The stories where the truth was stranger than any fiction could ever be. I'll see you there.